welcome back. All right, haven't made a video in, well, we're looking at years now, right? So, Cool Meadows Motorsports, we are back. Why? Well, why are we gone so long? Put everything aside, trying to go through life. I'm not gonna get into it, saving money, and obviously if you're saving money, you can't really spend money on projects, race cars, off-road vehicles, whatever it may be. So, another story for another time. Reason I'm getting on and making this video is I want to do a series. Why are we doing a series? We want to bring back Project Yesteryear. Out of the blue, I know, right? Oh, Sam, Sarah, what Cool Meadows Motorsports? Why are you bringing back Project Yesteryear? That thing's been down and out for coming up on 5 years, 4 years, 5 years. Because we have some incentive to, by something Sarah and I just did for shits and giggles and ended up getting approved. So now we kind of want to bring back Project Yesteryear because of a trip we're going to be making in March, right? So I'll get more details that later on. For now, I just wanted to say hi, get this video series going. We're going to show you what we're going to do to Project Yesteryear to bring it back to life. If you don't know what Project Yesteryear is, it's a 1970 Ford F250 bump side Ford it was going to go to the scrapper, and then back in late 2019, like October-ish, I had a 5.3 and some old turbo parts and so on. I essentially just, on a budget, LS swapped it, put a turbo on it, and made it to the stock Ford T18 transmission. Drove it like that for a year and a half, decided I would take it sled pulling, and did not go well. Burnt the heck out of the clutch, still tried to take it down the track, and then when it came up on boost and granny gear, it exploded the clutch.
Fabian out of Bennington, New Jersey.
Blew the bell housing apart on the transmission, blew the clutch, the flywheel apart, and sent one chunk of the flywheel through the windshield, another chunk through out the bottom, and then bent the frame, did a bunch of damage. I'll show you here in a minute. But yeah, and then ever since then it's been sitting. We're gonna take a trip in March. This video series is basically gonna be showing you guys rebuilding the truck and then also prepping our Kenworth toter home and our trailer to make a trip down to Florida. All right. Why Florida? Well, we'll get to that. Those of you that pay attention to the YouTubes probably already know by now. But yeah, so I got our old Farmall tractor fired up. I'm going to drag this thing out and get it in the garage. Look at this beautiful piece of equipment. Project Yesteryear, 1970 Ford F250. Been in the family since the early 90s. I think my dad got it from doing some landscaping work for a rather large property, and then this woman gave him this truck. I took a bunch of turbo parts I had from my old K5 Blazer, which had a turbo 5.3 in it. I had another 5.3 from a early 2000 Suburban maybe. and put it together. So what it has in it currently, which is a disaster, mind you, because you can see the hole back in there on the firewall. The clutch flywheel. The flywheel came through here, blew everything apart. EFI sources micro squirt. Those who are familiar with the sloppy mechanics, LS swap stuff, very popular. Tiny little ECU, this thing right down in here, runs the whole engine, right? Very simplistic. Got the job done, not great, but I'm pretty sure half the harness got ripped apart. We'll see. The engine was a 0102, I believe. Like I said, came out of Suburban. 5.3. It's got a GM MLS head gaskets, packed 1218 valve springs, ARP head studs, and that's about it for the motor. Otherwise, bone stock, right? Typical sloppy mechanic build. Flipped factory manifolds. I welded some V-bands on them. As you can see, I've stolen a couple parts here and there, pulled stuff apart. And then practically the most expensive part in this whole deal was the Turbo Smart wastegate I put on it. Some Amazon brand blow-off valve. It's got a Summit Racing exhaust cutout on it, which does, at least back in the day, didn't work for crap. It would get hot and then the motor wouldn't operate. And then this is a eBay special GT45 turbo, which did the dump pipe out the fender. And then where it started getting unique is the whole point of this truck is I didn't want to restore it. You know, it's got the patina going, all that look. So some of the rust I patched with like some old New Jersey farmer plates, kind of do something a little bit different. Come back here, the fuel tank in the truck was actually completely rotted, full of crap, total disaster. So I had this brilliant idea from the farm. We have a bunch of leftover milk cans and they're stainless lined, so I turned them into fuel tanks. So this one's got the gauge in it, the feed and return, and then there's a return on that one, vent, and there's a crossover down there between the two. Pretty much bone stock interior. Did a Kilomat floor lining. It was about the last part I got to it before I took it to that truck pool. And it's the air fuel ratio gauge going on. Got Sun Pro Tack, you know, got to keep it legit. And had the Hirsch shifter with the button, which this had a 2-step wired up to build boost at a standstill. So just sit on that button, it would build a 6 psi just sitting there. And it's got a full sound system. It's a fun truck. It was put together just to have fun with. It didn't really have a purpose. I'm gonna clue you guys in as I go here. I'm gonna take some stuff apart, not bore you to death with time lapses or anything like that. Just check back in at certain points, and as I discover what hidden secrets might be waiting for me, we shall see. All right. Easy peasy. Turbo's out, radiator's out, piping's out. Disconnect some wiring. As you can tell, I was very sloppy with my wiring back in the day. It's an absolute mess. So, working on that. I mean, really, all I got left before I could pull the motor is 2 heater hoses. Probably going to disconnect the harness from the engine side. But disconnect the harness, disconnect the heater hoses, and the motor should be really ready to yank at that point, besides the engine mounts, because there's nothing holding the back of it right now, because the bell housing's in pieces. So, yeah, that's a lot smoother. And I'm probably going to pull that exhaust out, because it's a little tight. Give myself some room. And then, she'll be out of the engine, or out of the engine. Engine will be out of the truck. Words are tough. I just pulled the downpipe out along with the side exit. I found the first real damage report, at least the stuff that I haven't really seen yet. I guess the flywheel smacked the crap out of the exhaust or something. Maybe, looks like maybe a giant indent from a piece of the bell housing. Just, pow. Who knows, but She's smacked in a little bit. So I probably won't be reusing that. I wasn't planning to anyways, but shucks. Another carnage report. If you could take a guess what this is, it's what's left of the starter. It's a solenoid in the back of the armature, I guess, but it literally pulled it out like that. Still connected to the battery cable. So yeah, that's a good one. Stay tuned. Flywheel bolts are all still in the motor. That's what's left of the bell housing over there. Little bits of the starter still there. This is the piece, this whole ear on the lower portion of the block sheared off. I mean, I'm just like, this motor was fine. Really tempted to see what it would be like. I'm gonna have to do some research and see if there's anything I could do to try and weld that back on. I mean, the alignment dowel, the problem is it's right at the alignment dowel too, but.
I mean, worst case scenario, we have another motor.
Yeah,
that doesn't work.
This was a good used motor. It was taking the beating.
Huh.
It wasn't like the first one where it was just spinning rod bearings left and right.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that's the first half. The engine's out. Otherwise, it looks like the harness, I ended up leaving the harness on the motor, and the actual engine harness looks okay with the micro squirt. I just don't know. I was having problems with the micro squirt a while back. I don't know if it still has issues or what. But then over here, I found the main motor of the starter. It's sitting right there.
Look at that.
That's funny. You know, that's what's left of the front of the T18. Or at least the Chevy bell housing. I mean, the trans is good. It just needs a new input shaft.
Oh. So we just need a bell housing.
If we're going to use that trans again, I don't know. And an input shaft, but I was also looking online as like, if we wanted to go automatic, it wouldn't be a bad time to do that.
Yeah, but it was fun driving this manual.
Yeah, but I wanted to go fast.
I know, you would have to throw those shifts.
Like, I don't want to drag race the thing if we're going to rebuild it. So, you can see the gaping hole in the firewall where the one piece of flywheel went through. And then, that's progress. That's some... honestly, I would love nothing more than to cut out everything around the front here. All these inner fender well, everything, and open it all up. Get rid of the inner fender well here, get it all cut out, and just strip some metal out of the way because it doesn't need it. Now to get into the interior. Closer, you don't have to zoom. I'd rather you just work the phone because the zooming makes the video quality crappy. Are you? All right. So I was reading online. Apparently, you just take a knife, bring it all down, and this stuff starts coming off. We'll see. Try not to.
Ooh, crunchy.
I don't know how. I think.
Oh, you got a cut on there?
Yeah, I think you're supposed to try and cut right along the top edge of the like that.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, that's better. I guess that's actually kind of surprising because everybody was watching online, all this stuff was just flaking apart because it was so old. It's actually in pretty good shape, I guess. All right, let me get all this cut and then we'll pop the windshield out. Cleaning, cleaning, cleaning. Windshield's out. So now, luckily for us, hopefully you could hear me over the vacuum, it dented the cowl right here. That's all that caused the windshield to crack like it did. Well, damn. That's a lot more missing than what we last checked, but Sarah and I got gung-ho. Pulled the fenders off, pulled a lot of the grill parts off, bumper. So, see what all is really rotted out. Obviously, this inner fender is toast. She gone. And then this one on this side, really surprisingly, is not bad, except for a little bit right up front here. So, that's those. Core support is gone. Absolutely rotted out. So, that's definitely going to need to get replaced. And then the front of the cab, pretty decent shape. There's a couple of little spots in there, previous patches that we're just not going to talk about. I know this side I sealed some stuff when I made a repair a long time ago on the wheel wells and the floors. But it's not too bad. You know, it's workable, it's usable. I don't really care too much about that. But Sarah's part searching, looking up transmissions. We're really leaning towards a 4L80E in this truck. Eventually a reverse manual valve body, but we're trying to get it running for where we're going to take it in March. That's the main goal.
Is that a surprise to everyone?
I don't know. I might have talked about it in the video already. I don't recall. I've just been recording, and I forgot what I talked about. But it's going down to Florida in March for a certain event. Those of us who follow the YouTubers out there probably know what I'm talking about. But ideally, I want to make it a drag truck. Ideally, have a cage in it that's 850 cert. I'd love to get this thing down to 9s. I don't know what class I want to build it to, but I kind of figure if we're going to go that route, Turbo LS 4L80 would be the combo we're going to go with. And ideally, before the event, if we're going to be replacing the roof, I kind of really want to put a cage in it. Since the roof's going to be off, that would be the time. You know, I'd hate to replace the roof and then put a cage in and have to fight with all that. Well, finishing this one off. We got her torn down, as you can see. Trying to figure out what zoom mode I want to use better on this. So, inner fenders are off, core support's out, everything's out of the way. Last thing we got to do is I unbolted the plow frame, and then come to find out they stitch welded it on both sides. So I got to cut it off and get this last piece of the rotted core support out. Just got to cut that bolt off. But now we got it all torn down. We got room to play. I can hopefully start making some repairs. And we got to get the transmission out too. But yeah, I mean, I think at this point, next steps. We got to really solidify a game plan. Figure out what exactly we're going to be doing with this deal. Again, I'm not a fan of just putting together a cool truck and not doing anything with it. I want to go drag racing, right? You guys know I do the off-road racing. That's what the plum's for. I like purpose-built vehicles that have somewhat of a multitude. Not, that's the wrong wording. Like it has more than one option, right? So like ideally, for example, this truck ideally would be a drag race vehicle that I could drive down the road. Hence where I'm really leaning towards eventually building a drag and drive truck like Sick Week or Hot Rod Drag Week or stuff like that. Obviously, would I make one of those big name events? Probably not, but like there's smaller name drag week events that take place that I think it would be really cool to do. So again, ideally that's the route I'd like to take. We've hinted at a couple of different things throughout the video. What really sparked all this was Sarah and I decided, just for the heck of it, you know, we saw that Cletus McFarland down in Bradenton Motorsports Park and Freedom Factory is hosting what they call the Summer Nationals or Summer Nats. Basically, the guys who do the big burnout contests in Australia are coming over and putting on a huge weekend-long hot rod festival down there. And they have one of the entry points, like you can enter to be a burnout car, you can enter to drag race, you can enter to roll race, right? The truck realistically is not going to fit any of those aspects by the time that event comes up. We don't have the money to make it fit any of those aspects and do well before that event. But what they also had was just a simple Summer Nats entrant option, which allowed you to bring a cool vehicle. They're going to have a cruise route there. They're going to have the skid pad open during non-competition if you want to fool around, which is pretty cool. They have a burnout spot, just standstill burnout spot. And a couple other things where you bring a cool hot rod, a cool vehicle down, and you essentially just cruise and you camp. So our plan is to take the toter down, God willing and money allowing, we get the yellow truck put together enough where we can bring it, and just enjoy the festival hot rod weekend. So that's the game plan. I'm hoping to really get back in the YouTube game. Not bore you guys to death so much on me in front of the camera talking like I'm doing exactly now, but I felt it was due that you need an explanation of what's going on. But I want to show some good content, show what we're doing with the trucks, the vehicles nowadays, show a little bit of our shop life and interactions, and go from there. So if you want to help us out, watch the videos, like them, subscribe, share, help us spread it out, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right.
Gotta get these videos.
It's getting
Hi,
tightened up.
Dad.
Tighten up that chain. All right, you got the green light. Here we go.